Hi, I'm Dr. Khurrum Shaukat Yusafzai. Today's video is about Shagai. There is a military fort made in 1926 by the British called Shagai Fort in the Khyber Pass. So today we are going to visit the railway station near the Shagai Fort, also made in 1925-26, about the same time. So we started from Peshawar and reached the railway station, and we were greeted by a railway station which had no platforms, and there was a fort used as a railway station. Although Shagai Fort, built in 1925-26, is also a big fort which you can see, made by the British during the World War I, because they wanted to control the Afghan frontier and also safeguard against the Russians and the French as well, the Napoleonic forces in the past, and they wanted to play the great game and capture Afghanistan for themselves, which they failed, but they used the railway as the great game tool. So the station is right next to the fort, as you can see, and the station is marked with the white marker just near the road, which is known as the Sher Shah Suri Road or the Grand Trunk Road. Grand Trunk Road is from Afghanistan to Pakistan to India and Bangladesh, about 3,000 kilometer road. So this is situated near that road, and as you can see, this is where the narrow point of Khyber Pass is. This is the narrowest part in the Khyber Pass, known as the Ali Masjid, is nearby. So Shagai served a very important military strategic point, because any invader coming to the Indian subcontinent would pass through the Khyber Pass, and the narrowest part at Shagai and Ali Masjid would be serving as a choke point, and if somebody is occupying the hills nearby, they would defeat very big armies. And that's what happened to the British and the Americans and the Russians in the past, to Genghis Khan, the Romans, the Greeks, the Macedonians, Alexander the Great, all suffered defeats over here. So Ali Masjid, it's named Ali Masjid because of association with the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, who is the companion known as Ali ibn Talib. So why it is like this, I will make another video about that. But right now I will show you the 120-year-old board of this Shagai railway station, which is being ignored and not being maintained by the government of Pakistan, because the Pakistan Railways does not spend a single rupee on this very important and strategic railway station. And the current government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa by PTI is also not worried about this. I think it's a deliberate policy of keeping the people backward of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province as a matter of policy to subjugate them, which was also played by the British and then by the Pakistan government as well. This is the fort-like railway station. Imagine that there is a fort and the railway station is a smaller fort nearby. This was also made during the time when these railway tracks were completed in 1925, and the first train went on the 3rd November 1925. These are the steps which goes to the railway station, and there is a watchtower just like a fort, and there was a window where you can buy tickets, and there were two small windows for the guns, protected by metallic uh, structures. And there was, at the back there was also a tower with the very steel armor protected windows all around the valley. And that's the Shagai fort, which the British made because it had to fight three wars with the Pashtuns here, called the First Anglo-Afghan War in 1840s, the Second Anglo-Afghan War in 1880s, and the Third Anglo-Afghan War in the 1920s. So these are the railway stations. Like, you start from Peshawar, then the Jamrod railway station, the Bigyari, Mandanak, Shagai, and then Kattakushta, Zintara, and then Sultan Khel, Landi Khel, Tora Tiga, and Landi Khana is the last railway station. The height at Peshawar is 10550, and the highest is 3500 at Landi Kotal. And at the Torkham border, the last station is 1000 feet lower at 2600 feet approximately. So there is a high gradient towards the Landi Kotal, and then there is a steep, going down towards the Torkham, and the gradient is about 2 feet for every it's like 1/50 gradient, which is a very steep gradient, and the whole track is about 32 kilometers from Peshawar to Torkham. So the Shagai railway station I saw in 1920s, and now, because the last train came here in 2008, so you can see nothing has really changed over here, as if time has frozen. So the first train reached here on the 3rd November 1925 to the highest point, Landi Kotal, and the last train, of course, in 2008, because of the bridge falling in Jamrod of the railway, and Pakistan government least bothered in repairing it. This is the last station at the Torkham border, the Pak-Afghan border. The first train was a year later, 3rd April 1926, and the last train was 15th December 1932. Why it happened? Because the Afghan government wanted the train not to come from Landi Kotal towards the Torkham, so they banned it because of a request from the Afghanistan government. You can see this is the water filling device made by the Hayward Tile in Britain, and it's still working. There's a tank attached to it for the steam engines. Steam engines were made by the Vulcan foundries in UK in the 1920s and 15s. They're still being maintained by the Pakistan Railway at the Peshawar railway station. But the biased and racist PTI government sent the treasure of Pakhtunkhwa to Punjab in Rawalpindi, and currently they don't operate this Khyber safari train because they have sent the trains and the engines to Punjab in Rawalpindi. They have denied the historical significance of Khyber Pass and the Khyber Safari train. Although currently the China, Uzbekistan and Afghanistan have requested the Pakistan government for access of this Khyber Pass railway, but the government of Pakistan is not interested in granting this to China, Uzbekistan and Afghanistan, because they don't want to develop this area as a matter of policy. So we climbed up the stairs and observed the view. This is the Shagai fort, made by the British Raj in 1925. The view was magnificent. Although Pakistan claims that it has cooperating with China for giving access, but by the looks of it, it seems nothing is happening, and they have even they have delayed actually this project, and they have put it in ML3 instead of ML1, and have given it the least priority to develop the train to Afghanistan. Of course, blaming the geopolitical situation in Afghanistan, for which Pakistan is responsible itself. The station was still having the British era control systems. Whatever the British left in the 1925-20s is still being possessed, and it's a miracle it's still here. Although the incompetent bureaucracy and the politicians and the people who govern Pakistan does not realize the importance of these jewels of history we possess. So there was the ticket window where you could buy the tickets. The signboard was in English and the Hindi language, the language of Indian subcontinent, as well as in Persian script written as Shagai, as it is pronounced. The brick used is made up of stone, so it's not a big brick, so it makes the building very strong, and that's why it has survived the last 100 years. Currently the buildings which we make won't even survive maybe the 100 years. You can see that the railway station was just like a fort, and the people would be dug in. They were so afraid of the local Pashtuns who would be resisting, and they were fighting for their freedom. The rest of the Indian subcontinent was doing jobs, and the people over here were fighting. The first Anglo-Afghan War of 1840s, the second of 1880s, the third in 1920s, and the skirmishes continued right up to 1947, when on 15th August the Indian subcontinent was partitioned into India and Pakistan, and Afghanistan was separated via Durand Line in 1893. So the Pashtuns were the only ones who gave the most toughest time to the British Empire. I will do videos on the first Anglo-Afghan War, the second Anglo-Afghan War, and the third Anglo-Afghan War, which occurred here in the Khyber Pass in the Peshawar region, and I would tell you some historical pictures and also tell you about what really happened and what was really the story of that time. Behind the station is a dry riverbed. The stream starts in the Landikotal and it ends here. Sometimes, it becomes like a roaring river, like what actually happened in 1926 when this, just a year after the first train went in November 1925, there was a big storm, and the waters damaged some of the railway weakest links, which was repaired by the engineer by the name of Victor Bailey, who actually made it, and there was Lieutenant Colonel Gordon Heron, who actually did the uh, survey for this. So this is the inside view of the building. You can see their chimneys, and these are the gun slots for infantrymen to fire the bullets while being inside this fort. Most of the soldiers were the Punjabi Sikhs, or the Muslim Punjabis under the British Empire, or the Bengalis, and you could imagine their fear being in this territory and the Pashtuns attacking them. They were practically dug in. So this is very interesting, telling a story that's 120 years old, and it's repeated even now when the people on both sides of Durand Line, the AFPAC people, the Pashtuns, defeated the Soviet Union and also the Americans and the British in the past. So the current superpowers had a taste of defeat, and that's why it's called the graveyard of empires. In the background you can see a fort on top of that mountain of Ali Masjid. This was the fort which was built by the Pashtuns, by the Durrani Empire of Barakzai. Dost Muhammad Khan and the Sadozais had this fort, and when the first Anglo-Afghan war happened, this fort belonged to the Pashtuns. And over here there was encampment of the British Army, the Peshawar Valley Force, or the Indus Army of the British Empire, which started from Firozpur and Delhi in India and came here. Big army, big force to conquer Afghanistan. So that story would be later in another video. So I hope you have enjoyed this informative video, and in order to appreciate our efforts, I hope we deserve that you subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon, as without that there are billions of videos and we would not be able to meet again. If you are interested in the videos, you have to subscribe. And also press the bell icon, which will inform you if the new video is uploaded, because these videos are informative and it's like documentaries about the history after very hard work and research. So I thank you very much for seeing my video, and I hope you return again. So thank you very much and take care and goodbye.